I've always been big on ab work because unlike your chin, you can strengthen your abdominal muscle groups and guard yourself from being able to get hurt by a shot to the midsection. If you want to bulletproof your body, here are a series of ab exercises to help you get there. Our first exercise is something we call knee ups. And with this, you really want to drive your knees into the ceiling. Go ahead and demonstrate here, Rudy. This is good. You really want to control the movement all the way up and all the way back. Again, it requires a lot of muscle control. That's what makes this good for your midsection and your core overall. Next, we have one-legged bent knee sit-ups. Rudy's going to do a typical standard sit-up, but only with just one leg straight out. And he's going to go straight to that leg. Go ahead and demonstrate, Rudy. And this is a good exercise because it places all the emphasis on one row of abs at a time. Again, really concentrate and focuses that effort. And you can switch knees, go to the other side. Same thing. Again, it's important to use a full range of movement, or full range of motion, so you're really getting all the benefit from this exercise. Next, we have countdown, or what we call degressive sets. And that's where Rudy's going to do a typical sit-up, and then he's going to lower his body slowly, really controlling the movement, putting a lot of time under tension on his abs, which is great for longevity, and just really putting a lot of pressure on that midsection. And up. And down slowly, controlling it all the way, small increments. Next, we have frog sit-ups. I really like this because it places a lot of emphasis on the lower abs and in the hip flexors. So Rudy, bring your feet in, let them drop to the side, so you're not having your feet flat-footed like a traditional sit-up, and bring them as close to your body as you can. This really makes a regular sit-up much more difficult. All right, now do a regular sit-up. Again, the idea is to do a variety of ab exercises that focuses on and concentrates on very specific parts of your abdominal wall, not just overall core. Next, we have a 3/4 side crunch. And Rudy, if you just want to slide slightly to your one side, we're really focusing on this set of abs right here, not the front, not like a side crunch, but a 3/4 crunch. And you're going to bring your elbow to your hip and up like a crunch. Again, really focusing on a certain specific set of muscles and not just your overall core and abdominals. After that, we're going to next level a regular plank routine. We're going to do that by doing Superman planks because you're mimicking the motion Superman flew in. So Rudy, if you want to get into a standard plank, and you're going to raise the opposite leg and the opposite hand in conjunction. And hold that for a second till you got control of it, and then switch. Until you got control. Holding it, switch. Try to keep your arms and leg as straight as possible, straight out, and switch. Again, this is great then because it engages your entire core and midsection and requires a lot of muscle control. This might be my favorite of all of the abdominal exercises we use in our boxing training. That's because it really mimics the ability to be able to take a punch as much or more than any other ab exercise. And this we call the medicine ball rolls. So Rudy's going to get on the medicine ball, balance on his abs, and control movement with his feet. So he's going to hit on all parts with all of his body weight on the medicine ball. It's really digging into every abdominal muscle, really giving him the ability to absorb shots. Again, just really controlling the movement with his feet, rolling around on all parts of his abs. Next, for the abs, we have what we call the Russian twist. That's where Rudy will take the medicine ball in his hands, balance himself on his butt, his glutes, and rotate from side to side. This is good because it really works your abs in a crossways fashion, really helping your leverage and rotational torque. The important thing with this is also to make sure and turn your whole upper body. Some people do this and it just becomes an arm exercise, but you really want to rotate from your hips and rotate around, get the full benefit, a full range of motion out of it. A more common abdominal exercise, but really is important that you do it right, are leg raises. And one of the important things is to, instead of just going flat, you make sure and put your hands under your hips so it takes the arch out of your back. You don't want that pressure on your backbone. So we're going to go do basic leg raises from there, up and down. Again, good because it's a movement that requires full range of motion. That's important. Anything you do in boxing is range of motion. You want to go as close to the mat or floor as possible, up and down, and keeping constant pressure on your abdominals. Then you can do a variation of this where you're just keeping one leg stationary down below and raising one leg at a time. Alternating or switching off. Another ab exercise I like are what we call scissor kicks. That's basically where you put your hands under your hips again, keep your back straight, straighten out your back, and you're just up and down. Feet straight, up and down. There you go. This is good because it works your hip flexors, which is good for side to side movement, forward and back in the ring. And it also really focuses on your lower abs. So if you get hit right on the belt line, you're not going to feel it as much. A variation on that is what we call over and unders. Basically the same, where you put your hands behind your hips to straighten out your lower back, and you basically just take your feet over and under each other. Keeping your feet as close to the ground as possible to put maximum pressure and tension on your lower abs. Again, this is good for your hip flexors, a lot of good for side to side movement. And also if you're strengthening your lower abs, if you get hit right on the belt line, it's not going to have as much effect. I also always like to work in some more traditional ab exercises. One is just a basic toe touch with your hands above your head, your feet up in the air, and reach up and touch your toes. Again, the whole time trying to keep your shoulders off the ground so you have constant tension on your abs throughout the whole range of motion. Again, this works more the upper abs and the midsection. Then if you want to take that basic exercise and add some complexity to it, you add a medicine ball into the mix. That's where he just basically takes the medicine ball in his hands, feet up in the air again, touches the medicine ball to his toes. Again, keep your shoulders off the ground so there's constant tension on your abs, and you've added a little weight to the exercise, makes it a little bit more difficult. Then we're going to reverse that out, and I'm the one holding the medicine ball. So Rudy, put your feet in the air again. Rudy's going to reach up and touch the medicine ball. And I can control the difficulty of this exercise by how high or low I place the medicine ball. Again, keep your shoulders off the ground so there's constant tension on your abs and full range of motion. Next, we're going to do knee slides. Rudy's basically just going to touch his thighs, do a crunch up into and grab his kneecaps. Just hold them slightly up at top. Again, just keeping constant pressure and resistance on his abs. Again, incorporating some more traditional exercises is the plank, and that's a more popular one. You can do it in various ways though. One is just from your hands, standing. Again, you want to keep your back straight. A lot of guys, they'll V up in the middle. You don't want to do that because it's taking all the pressure off of your core. You really want it really accentuating your core. So you really have to maintain that level playing field. Then you can also drop down to your elbows, do it from there. Just a little bit easier, not a ton. Then you can also do a walking where you're going from your elbows to your hands, elbows to hands, elbows to hands. From that same position, we're going to do a hyperextension. What I like about this is it takes a little bit of pressure off the abs, gives you a little break in your ab routine, but it also incorporates your abs. So Rudy's going to place his hands behind his head, going to drive his toes into the ground while he lifts up his head and his upper body. Good. Keep constant pressure on that back. Again, people forget about their back muscles while they're strengthening their abs. You have to have a little bit of a balance. Next, we have medicine ball crunches. Rudy's going to do that by bringing his legs up so they're parallel to the floor. I'm going to put the medicine ball in his legs, so he's having to control that, balance that, and maintain that weight while he's doing the crunches. You're working several sets of muscles here at the same time. Another variation of a plank that I like just because it adds complexity to the movement and the exercise are what we call Spider-Man planks. That's basically where you bring your knee up to your elbow and switch it out. Good, now pick up the pace. Again, that's kind of helping your rotational torque, really putting some focus on your core and just overall body movement. Another exercise to get acclimated to realistic punching is actually partner up with somebody. Rudy's going to put his hands on his head and I'm just going to work. Again, it doesn't have to be hard, it just has to be snappy. Just get him used to feeling those shots. Kind of work around all angles, try all different sections of the midsection. It's also good for the partner, but punching, because with constant movement, he's getting a workout too. And getting used to digging down, reaching down low, digging up underneath that rib cage. Another one of my favorite ab exercises is what I call a wall crunch. That's where Rudy's basically going to put his hands on his head, take his elbows right to his knees. Again, keep your shoulders off through the whole range of motion. So you got constant pressure on your abs, constant resistance, under constant tension. What I like about this is it's a great isolation exercise. You can't fudge, you can't jerk yourself up, you can't move your lower body to jerk your upper body up. It's just all about focusing on the abs. Another variation of a basic crunch is a crossover, where you put your knee, one knee up on the other across your ankle and take your opposite hand to the opposite knee. Right there. There you go. Again, I like this because it works more of the cross section of the abdominal wall. I tend to be more of a traditionalist, but I still feel like the basic sit-up, when done correctly, is the best thing you can do to build a strong ab section. So Rudy's going to start by putting his hands up to his head. A lot of people clasp their hands behind their head like this, or even lock their fingers. You don't want to do that because it pulls your spine out of alignment. It puts a lot of stress on the back of your neck. This should be a nice relaxed movement with all of the focus being on the abs. So Rudy's going to start with that, and he's going to drive forward with the upper portion of his abs coming forward with that, almost like a string is pulling him up to his knees, straight to his knees and back. A lot of people lead with their shoulders or lead with their chin or neck, and that just throws everything out of whack and takes all of the pressure off your abs. You want it to be all about his. So again, drive right from here, right up, right through the center of your knees. The other thing is a lot of people will put their feet under something. I don't like that because it makes the exercise easier. With this, he has to push down on his feet to keep them in place while he's raising up his abs. So you're working two sets of opposing muscles. So again, just do a couple of basic sit-ups in a correct form. Show everybody how it goes. See if you notice all the focus is right here. Nothing else. No extraneous movement, no other muscles working. Build up a powerful midsection, and it's one less defensive point you will ever have to worry about.